Clearinghouse. Whether you are enrolled, and you should be, or not, there is a little matter that you need to take care of in the next few weeks, or it could cost you dearly. Roll it. Hello and welcome to Trucking Topics Today, where we provide information for your trucking journey. My name is Tony and I am your host here on the channel. Now, if this is our first time meeting, welcome. Please consider supporting the channel by simply subscribing and tap that notification bell so that you can be notified of future video drops. Let's get after it. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, or FMCSA, put into place the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse National Database on January 5th, 2020. Now, it is required that every trucking company be registered in the clearinghouse, as well as all drivers. So, if you are an owner-operator with your own authority, you will need to be registered as a company as well as a driver. In simple terms, the clearinghouse is supposed to be the central point for all drug and alcohol tests. All testing sites are to submit their results to the clearinghouse. So, why a clearinghouse, you say? Well, I'm glad you asked. So before the clearinghouse, a company would send a driver for a drug test for whatever reason or regulation and receive the result from the testing company. Now, if the result was positive, the company would normally go through disciplinary procedures if that person is a current employee, or perhaps the driver would not be hired if it was a pre-employment test. The result would go into the company's file, and the driver would just move on to the next company. So far, so good. Except that if that company received an employment inquiry from a prospective employer, that prior employer that ran the test for whatever reason may not report the positive test to the new prospective employer. Now, the clearinghouse will have this information available to companies and drivers as well. Starting in 2021, employers must run at least one clearinghouse query on each of their CDL drivers annually, with the first query due by January 5th, 2021. If you haven't yet run a query on each CDL driver you employ, including yourself, if you are an owner-operator, you must do so by this date. Now, failure to run these annual queries could lead to fines up to $2,500 per driver. None of us want none of that business, okay? The latest FMCSA clearinghouse data suggests that there are still many employers and drivers who haven't yet registered for the clearinghouse, which could create a demand similar to the one we saw earlier this year when the system became overwhelmed by the large volume of traffic trying to register and log into the site. Now, I would strongly suggest taking care of this requirement now before the surge occurs. We're only talking about a few weeks till it happens. And by the way, I have noted the clearinghouse website below in the show notes, along with other good information such as ways to schedule a free meeting with me. I can help you with your FMCSA registration. And we have products listed that we use and have reviewed in our trucking business that you might be interested in. Okay. Now you have the option of running either a full or a limited query. But if a limited query shows that there is information on a driver's record, you will be required to run a full query within 24 hours. Failure to do so will result in the driver being pulled from safety-sensitive functions until you're able to run the full query. Okay, let's talk about the clearinghouse steps for the employer. FMCSA registration before you're able to run an annual DOT clearinghouse query on your drivers. You must set up an account first. Without an account, you can't run queries on your drivers. You also can't report drug and alcohol violations when they occur. And this needed to be done by January 2020 anyway. Now, I will have the clearinghouse link in the show notes below, as I mentioned. But this is what the website looks like. Now, if you scroll down just a bit, you can see that there are 3 sections. One for drivers, one for employers, and one for the testing sites. Now remember, if you are driving a truck and you own the company, you need to register as both a trucking company as well as a driver. Now, step number 2. Driver FMCSA Clearinghouse registration. Not only does having a clearinghouse account enable drivers to check their accounts for inaccuracies, it also enables them to give consent before an employer runs a full query of their clearinghouse record. Now, because a full query shows all of the details of a driver's record, the driver is required to give consent within the clearinghouse before a full query is run. Because an employer only has 24 hours from the time a limited query shows a hit on a driver's record until the time they run a full query, it's important that drivers have their account set up in advance. Step number 3. FMCSA Clearinghouse Limited Consent Form. Although consent for full queries must be obtained each time an employer runs a full query in the clearinghouse, a blanket consent form is all that is needed for limited queries. Employers should provide all CDL drivers with a limited consent form, which gives them permission to run an unlimited number of limited queries for the duration of their employment, and that would normally be in the pre-employment package paperwork. Employers must keep a signed consent form on file for each driver they employ. All right, step number 4, the record keeping system. Now, employers must have signed consent forms on file for each driver as well as a record of all queries that they've run throughout each driver's employment. Very important. These records will be critical during an audit and should be stored digitally to both accommodate remote workers and ensure you're ready for an off-site audit. Because of the steps required in fulfilling the annual query process, it's important that employers start the process as soon as possible. Now, if you have questions or you need help navigating the process, I can help you. You can schedule a free 15-minute meeting with me by going to truckingtopicsononone.com. We have other options available at truckingtopicsvip.com, or you can become a Trucking Topics VIP and browse our other services available to you. Thank you for watching today. If you have any questions, please use the comments below. You can click here for another Trucking Topics video, and you can click here if you would like to subscribe. Until next time, please be safe.